Hola. Hey, what's up, iCkEdMeL? How you guys doing? Welcome to the live stream. Thank you for joining me. A little late tonight. And we're going to be talking about this story. It's kind of incredible. I don't know if it really is, because it's just like we keep hearing about these stories all the time, every day, constantly. But we're going to be talking about this former police officer, Stephen Broderick, and people that he killed. So let me give it a minute to people to join in, start up. Sipping on some tea here. I got couple of clips. Oh, you know what? While we wait, forgot I did this. Let me say hi to everybody. We're gonna do a couple of off topic real quick, just to get warmed up, let people come in. So I have, let's see here, I think 2 or 3 other real quick clips on other stories I can watch. Kiss Me, hey, welcome. Jason Flossie sent me the story, was sending me articles and helping out a bit. Hey Sarah, welcome. Good to see you. Charmone, hey, welcome. Facebook. I'm on Twitch right now. The last video I did on Twitch got like 10 views or something. I was like, maybe I'll keep trying Twitch to see what happens. So let me, hey Kathy, let's do a little warming up. Let's do this here. The heck was that? That's you. Oh wait, is that sound? That was weird. All right, what that was. Let's do this one first here. This one was kind of weird.
Now with 6 fire.
This was a story that Silvio sent to me, and I saw it kind of pop up. Oh, that was stars, I think. Thank you for the stars, Deborah. I think that was recently. This was kind of a weird one because of the witness that is speaking about this car that was burned. So there was a body found in this car. Thank you, Deborah. Appreciate you. Facebook. I haven't even watched this video, so we're gonna watch it together. So let me hear what you guys think.
Rushing to put out a car fire in Hollywood and finding a body in the vehicle. Police now saying arson investigation is underway.
A witness telling Local 10 she heard a loud boom and then saw someone running from that scene. And Local 10's Terrell Fournay is live with the latest in this very bizarre investigation. Terrell.
Really?
Bizarre indeed. A big mystery underway here in Hollywood. This is where those firefighters and police officers found that car burning. That scorched vehicle has since been removed from the scene. But detectives tonight, they say that this investigation is just beginning.
I was wondering where it was coming from. Like, it's horrible.
The smell of something burning was hard to miss for Selva Atas, who heard firefighters and police rush in around 7 this morning.
A detective knocked on my door and asked me, was I even up at this time? And I was, but I did not see anything.
Just a few doors down from her home, a scorched car in an alleyway in the 2300 block of Thomas Street. Here, Hollywood Fire Rescue was called out to douse a burning car.
And during their brief investigation, they did determine that there was a body inside the vehicle. At that point, they backed off, and the Hollywood Police Department established a crime scene.
It must have been a monster who has done this.
The crime scene meant the entire block would be roped off for several hours as detectives scoured the area. The damage to that vehicle was so extensive that the make and model was difficult to discern. As time went on, residents in this Hollywood neighborhood eventually learned of the grisly and deadly discovery.
I couldn't imagine the victim, how he or she must have felt at those last few seconds that they were alive. Especially being burnt alive, because nothing was left of the car.
So that scorched vehicle has since been towed away to the medical examiner's office, where they will eventually try to find the identity.
So I don't really see anything too weird, but she said burnt alive, like she knew some details that we don't know. By the way, let me say hi to Charmone, Karen, Deborah, Joni, Chani. I'm saying that right. Facebook, how you guys doing? Yeah, somebody commented under there and said, I can get a better screen for you guys. Said burnt alive. How would she know that? I don't know. But here's another creepy one, and this was just recently. This guy's a doctor. I think he's the same guy. I think he's a pediatric doctor. For the people that are joining, just giving it a couple minutes to warm up. We're doing some off stories. Diana, what's up? Welcome. We're doing some off stories real quick before we get started with this former police officer, Austin, Texas.
Safety alert, a Parkland doctor now behind bars accused of sending explicit messages to a 13-year-old.
And detectives say there could be more alleged victims out there. Let's go to Local 10's Roy Ramos, live down with Fort Lauderdale with the disturbing details. Roy.
Calvin and Nicole, well, neighbors we spoke with just shocked by all of this. They say not only is this man a doctor, but he's also a husband and a father with 2 daughters and a son, which make the charges filed against him even more sickening.
This is really a shock.
Residents along Northwest 63rd Way, just north of the Sawgrass Expressway in Parkland, stunned to learn one of their neighbors was arrested for allegedly sending explicit text messages and images of himself to a 13-year-old child.
You just don't expect this here, and I guess the reality is it's everywhere. And
64-year-old Stuart Bittman arrested at his home early Tuesday after investigators with BSO's Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force said he sent nude photos of himself to the teen while knowing he was communicating with a minor. Detectives say he posed as a teenage boy himself to try and solicit other victims.
I have children here. The strange thing with him, he has 2 daughters and a son.
It's right here at his Parkland home where Bittman was taken into custody. But in addition to that arrest, detectives also seizing several electronic devices from inside of his home. Roy Ramos with Local 10 News. We wanted to talk to you about the charges filed against Stewart. While we could see someone looking through the window, no one ever answered the door. I did discover that Bittman is a gastroenterologist at Gastro Health practicing out of Coral Springs. Neighbors I spoke with learning it was a doctor who is accused of preying on children, saying that makes the allegations even more unsettling.
Everybody that has children can appreciate that people like this have no reason for being.
That's his Parkland doctor. I think it's the same guy here.
Now to a safety alert after a disturbing arrest of a South Florida doctor. Today he appeared in bond court. That doctor is accused of sending sexually explicit pictures to a teenager. Local 10 News reporter Syra Onward joins us live from the Broward County Jail. And she tells us exactly what happened in court today and the reaction from the doctor's neighbors as well. Syra.
There was another doctor.
So this doctor's bond was set at $80,000 this morning by a Broward County judge. We spoke to his neighbors in Parkland who say they are just beyond disgusted and disturbed because not only was this man their neighbor and a doctor, but he also had 3 kids of his own.
The court finds probable cause for
and his own
transmitting
kids.
information harmful to minors.
A Broward doctor appearing virtually before a county judge for the first time this morning after he was arrested on charges related to sexual communication with a minor.
Count 4, misrepresenting age to use the computer to solicit or lure or seduce a child.
The judge set Stuart Bittman's bond at $80,000. 64-year-old Bittman was arrested at his home Tuesday after Broward Sheriff's Office Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force says
he's probably back home now.
He sent naked photos of himself to a 13-year-old girl while knowing he was communicating with a minor. Detectives say he also posed as a teenage boy to try to do the same thing to more teens.
Everybody that has children can appreciate that people like this have no reason for being in society.
His neighbors in Parkland shocked and disgusted.
I have children here. The strange thing with him, he has 2 daughters and a son.
We saw that already. And then the last one, and then we'll get started. There was another doctor recently. This was January 13. A pediatrician in Parkland also.
Now at noon, alarming allegations against a South Florida pediatrician. Dr. Michael Mizrachi was in court this morning after he was arrested on child pornography charges. CBS 4's Joan Murray is live in Fort Lauderdale with the details. Joan.
Good afternoon, Francis. Yes, Dr. Mizrachi was given a relatively low bond, so we expect that he's going to be released from the jail any time now. He also doesn't have to wear any ankle monitoring GPS device. So take you back to yesterday. This is a mugshot of Dr. Michael Mizrachi. He lives in Parkland. He's accused of possessing child pornography, distributing that, and also using an app to chat with a 15-year-old child while transmitting explicit photos to that underage child. Mizrachi had worked for West Broward Pediatrics located in Plantation. We understand he does not work there anymore. Bond was set at $30,000. The assistant state attorney set the conditions for release during a bond court hearing via Zoom.
Mr. Mizrachi shall have no contact with any minors except for his biological children And
Thank you for the
contact
shares.
will be supervised by the mother of the children, Michelle Mizrahi. Mr. Mizrahi shall surrender all passports in his possession to his attorney of record, Mr. Merlino, and may not reapply for or possess any passport. Mr. Merlino has already advised me that he is in possession of Mr. Mizrahi's passport. And lastly, Mr. Mizrahi shall not possess any devices with internet access or use any computers.
So Mizrahi has a child who is over 18 and one under 18. That minor child will have to have supervision.
Other people with kids. So I guess let's get started. Sunday, do this right here. Sunday, there was a shooting that took place in Austin, Texas. It was at this apartment, I guess an apartment complex, Arboretum Oaks Apartments. And this happened in the morning before 12, like around 11:42 a.m. There was a shooting that happened. I think when police officers arrived, there was, according to here, there was bodies lying to where a collision happened in the apartment complex. And so the people that are deceased is Amanda Broderick, 34, her daughter Alyssa Marie Broderick, 17, and then her daughter's boyfriend Willie Simmons, 18. And the thing with this is that this is really kind of a domestic situation with history, where previously she tried to get a protection order. Well, actually, let me start over here. So this guy was a cop. He was a police officer, started in 2008 at the Bastrop County Sheriff's Office. So he was a police officer from 2008 to 2020. And in June 2020, he assaulted Alyssa, but not just assaulted, sexually. And so we're going to read a little bit about those details. It's a really messed up situation because he was arrested and then he was bonded and he was given an ankle monitor, and the judge took off the ankle monitor and then he went to go do what he did. So what I'll do is I'm going to play a little bit of this video here to give a little bit of the timeline, a little bit better than I could. And then we're going to get into some of the articles and some of the things with this judge, and some of the details about what happened. And he also was involved in a previous incident, Stephen Broderick, in 2013, where a 78-year-old man was killed. He was working with another officer. I think let's do the little timeline thing here first, and then we'll go into the history of this guy. And I also want to talk about a little bit about Alyssa and Willie, because they're really smart kids. They accelerated in school. They were both into sports, and I have a video clip to play for them. So let me start with this first.
I'm going to start with a timeline of the events that happened starting early this morning. Approximately 11:42 a.m., a 911 call came in on what is called a shoot, stab, hot shot. It is our highest level priority call. That means that either someone's been stabbed or shot, or shots were taken. Came in the area of Great Hills Trail and Rain Creek Parkway. At that time, our officers began en route, running code, lights and sirens, and arrived, the first officer on scene, at 11:46 a.m., 4 minutes later. At that time, at that same time mark, 11:46, a reverse 911 activation was sent out in this area for all residents to know that we had a shooting that had taken place and to shelter in place. When officers arrived, they located 3 people who were injured and ultimately have been pronounced deceased. All 3 are adults. We have 2 Hispanic females and 1 black male. Our suspect, at this point, we think we know who it is, and he is identified, and I will be putting his name out because it is a matter of public safety at this point, because at this point he is still not in custody. He is tentatively identified as Stephen Nicholas Broderick. Stephen Nicholas Broderick. He's a black male, 41 years of age. He's described as being 5'7" with an average build. He's wearing a gray hoodie, sunglasses, and a baseball cap. I do not have a last known direction of travel at this point. We don't know if he's in a vehicle or if he's on foot. We still have many people in this area from all the agencies that I talked about that have that continue to look in this area for this individual. I'm sure you can hear the helicopters that we have overhead that are checking in the area, as well as people on the ground.
So on Sunday when this happened, okay, this whole thing was like a setup by this guy, Stephen. He goes to the apartment complex because they had a scheduled meeting for a visitation with their son. So Amanda Broderick is the mother. Daughter is Alyssa Marie Broderick, and her boyfriend is Willie Simmons, and they actually have a son. Don't know the name, don't know the age. I believe he's underage. He's the only survivor, actually, is the baby or the child. And so when they're supposed to have this meetup, I guess that's when all the shooting starts. The bodies of they were found on the floor next to the cars. I'm wondering, I guess maybe he rammed his car into them and did this. And so that happened Sunday. And then he was on the run. And we're going to watch the body cam footage of where he was caught, because he was caught about 18 miles away from the Arboretum Oaks apartment. And what happened was police got 2 calls that a man believed to be Broderick was walking along Old Kimbrough Road on a rural path off US Route 290. So we're going to watch that too.
What we're asking from the residents in this area is continue to shelter in place. This is still an ongoing and active investigation, and we do not have this individual in custody yet. We would ask, if you have your neighbors' phone numbers, call or text them, check on them, and make sure that they're okay. We are concerned that he might possibly take a hostage and be himself sheltered somewhere waiting for us to leave. And most importantly, if you see something or you have information regarding this incident, call 911 and please pass that information along. We will be putting out updates as this goes on.
So that's all I wanted to pick for that. I also wanted to do this one, which is kind of a bit of a timeline. Plus, I think this one has the footage of Stephen being arrested.
The former Travis County deputy, now charged with capital murder, accused of shooting and killing his ex-wife, his adopted daughter, and her boyfriend.
New at 6 o'clock, we're looking at the last 11 months when Stephen Broderick was first arrested. He was charged with sexual assault, and he lost his job. There was a divorce, protective orders, and then a judge decided he no longer was required to wear a GPS monitor.
KXAN investigator Jody Barr joins us live from outside the Travis County Jail. Jody, what have you uncovered?
Well, Robert, Sidney, again, Stephen Broderick is here inside of a jail cell in downtown Austin, here on a capital murder charge. We've dug through his criminal case file, and we found that the county was watching Broderick's every move with a GPS monitor, but that monitoring stopped about 5 months ago.
Let me see your hands. Stop right there.
A more than 18-hour manhunt for Stephen Nicholas Broderick ended along a 2-lane Travis County road Monday morning. Police say witnesses saw Broderick and thought he was suspicious, so they called 911.
Interlock your fingers on top of your head.
There we go.
Turn around, face away from me. Do it now.
This dash camera video shows Broderick didn't give officers any trouble. Although suspected in the murder of his wife, daughter, and daughter's boyfriend, the former sheriff's deputy was armed.
Attempting to detain, it appears he has a pistol in his waistband.
State and federal law enforcement spent the night searching for Broderick in Travis and Bastrop counties. SWAT ended up at this Bastrop County RV campground overnight.
And they had an announcement going on kind of a loop telling him to come out with his hands up. His safety could not be guaranteed.
This man asked not to be named but lived next door to Broderick. The man says he saw drones overhead and what he believed were snipers posted around the campground. SWAT eventually broke into Broderick's camper.
There was a flashbang that went off in the middle of that where they were trying to get him out, basically. They assumed he was in there. It turns out in the end he wasn't.
Last June, the Texas Rangers charged Broderick, a Travis County Sheriff's deputy at the time, with sexually assaulting a family member and family violence. A judge ordered him to wear a GPS monitor, to have no contact with his wife or children, and set him free on bond with a protective order in place. But prosecutors say Broderick violated the protective order the very next month when he sent his wife an email and attached intimate private images of the pair. In November, the
we're going to talk about that. Let me play this again. Hold on.
Broderick violated the protective bond with a protective order in place. But prosecutors say Broderick violated the protective order the very next month when he sent his wife an email and attached intimate private images of the pair. In November, the judge approved a plan to let the county remove the GPS monitor. Then Sunday, investigators say Stephen Broderick rammed his wife's car in a northwest Austin apartment complex, then shot and killed her, his daughter, and his daughter's boyfriend, both high schoolers. A witness grabbed Broderick's young son and got him to safety. Broderick then went on the run.
What you have now is a son that has lost a sister, lost a mother. His father's, I would assume, going to jail for life. And he didn't do anything to deserve all that. And so my heart just kind of goes out to him.
These are the times that we're in. The details are a little bit more crazier. It's more frustrating, which we're going to get into. Because of, they were afraid of this guy. Alyssa, the daughter, she was afraid of this guy. Let me make sure you guys can see this. Okay. Let's see a little bit bigger here. So Stephen Broderick had a history of violence accusations. Alyssa Broderick was former detective's daughter, has been named as one of the victims on the deadly April 18 attack. Willie Simmons and Amanda Broderick, Alyssa's mother, also died. In June 2020, Stephen Broderick, formerly a detective of the Travis County Sheriff's Office, was arrested and charged with sexual assault of a child. According to court documents, Broderick has been indicted with 9 counts of sexual assault of a child, all which happened with one child. Court documents also show he allegedly strangled a family member and has been indicted on 3 counts of family violence. He had an ankle monitor when he was released following the June 2020 charge, but it was later taken off. This makes me think of like so many stories that we've covered on here too, because I think about the guy that like burned his family's house down with all the kids and the wife inside, or the ex-wife. And the woman was like, "We're afraid. We're scared." The guy literally threatened, "I'm going to burn and kill you all." And the judge didn't take it serious. Broderick's lawyer argued that Broderick had worn the monitor for 142 days with no substantial violations and that it should be removed. A state district judge agreed, which left him unsupervised for months after his daughter and wife stated they feared for their safety with him released from jail. According to the Austin American-Statesman State District Judge Karen Sage, that's the judge right there, said she typically agrees to remove tracking devices when a defendant has shown a pattern of compliance and has not incurred any violations. She also said she rarely keeps defendants on GPS tracking for more than 90 days if they have been compliant. Court documents show Broderick's bail conditions required him to surrender all firearms and not obtain any new ones. Broderick's wife appealed for a protective order after his arrest, saying she was worried for the safety of her children. In quotes, "I'm afraid he will try to hurt me or my children because these allegations have come out and he may lose his career," which he did. I put notes somewhere. I think he was put like on some leave and then he resigned. I have it somewhere here. We'll get to that. I noted it somewhere. Oh yeah, Broderick was placed on administrative leave by the Travis County Sheriff's Office after his 2020 arrest, and then he resigned. It also says that Stephen has prior military experience and is SWAT trained. If he wanted to hurt someone, he would know how.
Now let's go back to KBU's Luis De Leon on the scene. He talked to some people who live near where all this happened. And for
Stop it. Don't do that right now. I'll actually watch this after, though. Okay, so Broderick's daughter stated in the application for the protective order she also felt unsafe with her father out of jail. I felt safe after my dad had been arrested and he was in jail, but now that he's out, I don't feel safe, she wrote. I'm afraid that to him a protective order will just be a piece of paper. I'm worried that he'll come after my family. I'm afraid that he might hurt me or my mom. That protective order was approved in August 2020, the same month that they were divorced, so they got divorced. Paperwork shows. On July 6, prosecutors filed a motion to increase his bond, alleging that he had sent an email accusing his wife of cash grab and attached multiple images depicting her undressed and engaging in sexual acts. The statesman reported that Sage granted the motion and has increased his bond to $75,000. So, let's check this out real quick.
several hours today, Luis, police asked those neighbors to shelter in place. That shelter in place has been lifted. But Luis, what are neighbors telling you?
Well, Jenny, as you can imagine, it was a very tense situation for those people who live in this area, especially for those who live at the Arboretum Oaks apartment complex, which is just over my shoulder and right behind me. There was caution tape all across it, as well as the rest of the perimeter that investigators and first responders, police were working with that extended down Great Hills Trail. That tape is now gone, as you can see. However, I did speak to one woman earlier this afternoon who said she lives at the Arboretum Oaks complex. She was driving to the domain actually at around 11:45 today, which is also around the time the initial 911 calls came in. She said she did see some sort of commotion, but at the time wasn't sure what was happening. She, of course, later learned the news and returned back to the area, but for hours was unable to get back inside of the complex because of the situation that was occurring. And here's what she had to say about how she was feeling about all this.
But as I'm driving, I see cop car after cop car after cop car with the lights on headed towards where I'm coming from. And so that's when I'm starting to get suspicious. So I feel angry. I feel angry that this keeps happening. I feel angry at the complete disregard for human life. And I feel angry that this is just another day in the United States.
Now, I also talked to another person who says she lives just down from where police say this all happened. She told me her family had to shelter in place for several hours today while she was at work. She came back from work to find that the roads were blocked off for quite some time.
Things happen everywhere, so I don't care where you live. It's, it's unfortunate that we've had so much gun violence in the past 2 or 3 months.
Now, we're also hearing from Austin Mayor Steve Adler tonight. He says, in part, quote, in a statement.
So a little bit more. Let me read some of these notes that I took from the various articles, and then we'll talk a little bit about Alyssa and Simmons. Here's all jacked up. Let's see here. Okay, so here's a couple things to be upset about, maybe, probably. I mean, it's just all upsetting, but so the judge, she used Judge Sage, and let's see here. An examination of court records shows Stephen Broderick, a former property crimes detective with the Travis County Sheriff's Office, spent 6 days in jail last summer. So he was just in jail for 6 days after doing what he did to Alyssa. But that was kind of crazy. And like I just kind of read previously, on June 6th, he was arrested. He had the $50,000 bond at the time. He had to wear a GPS monitor. And there was also a restriction of 200 feet from Alyssa. But then in October 2020, a judge agreed to allow Broderick to remove the monitor after his defense attorney noted that he had worn it for 142 days with no substantial violations. The defense motion said that he stayed in compliance with the protective order involving the sexual assault case. We're here. And then let's see here. Okay. The crazy thing about this thing too, this is what kind of like the political thing too. It's like, let me see if I can find where exactly this was at. Okay. Here's a kind of an interesting read. Because right now you got a lot of people that are pushing for defund the police, and people are pushing for lenient charges and for people to get out after doing crimes, horrific crimes. I want to see if I can pull up this entire article. See if I can get copy link. Oh, right here. Okay, let me get the screen up for you guys. Bang. Okay. So here it is. Okay, this is what I wanted to show you guys too. The other aspect of this, all the political crap with this, because they've been pushing for this bail reform, let people out, come right out of jail. You can do whatever the hell you want. You saw the last video where the woman killed somebody in a car accident, leaves the scene of the crime, bails out, and starts making videos online and laughing about it. It says here, progressive activists pushing for bail reform. Oh, sorry. Actually, let me start from right here. The decision by Sage to remove the tracking device underscores the increased challenges facing judges amid the national conversation on criminal justice reform. Progressive activists pushing for bail reform want judges to grant no-cost personal bonds to people accused of many violent and nonviolent offenses. That supporters say allows the accused to work and provide for their families as they fight the charges against them. In weighing bond decisions, judges are to consider the community's safety and the likelihood that the defendant will show up for court dates. Before granting the order to remove the monitoring device, Sage reviewed allegations from Travis County prosecutors that Broderick had violated the terms of the emergency protective order in the child sexual assault case. The order prohibited Broderick from contacting the child. So it just kind of, I thought that was a little interesting too, because there's this whole thing where let people out, let them go back to work, let them return and all sort of stuff. And then you have a lot of cases like this, which I don't know how you can do that to a child. That's so crazy. You can like rape a child, threaten them, violate the order by sending the email. You can rape a child and get right back out. Like it's nothing. It's just nothing. That's liberal shit. I'm telling you. I'm sorry to say it right now. We're going to keep it moving. That's liberal shit. Now, let me see what else I have here. Okay, so let's talk about the previous incident that he had. The Stevens previous incident, and then I'm going to play a little bit of a video and give a little background with Alyssa and Willie. Young people killed, murdered in a senseless act. And I wonder why he left his son alive.